James Carter thought he owned his secluded cabin land until a ruthless HOA president, Margaret Voss, declared it hers. Armed with forged documents and a thirst for control, she unleashed a campaign of intimidation to drive him out. But James uncovered her web of deceit, and the courtroom showdown that followed left her empire in ruins. Buckle up, this tale of defiance and justice is one you won't forget. Margaret Voss didn't just arrive, she made an entrance. Her sleek black SUV rolled to a stop at the edge of James's uneven gravel driveway, its polished exterior glaringly out of place amidst the rugged foothills. Stepping out, she adjusted her tailored blazer, her sharp eyes scanning the tree-lined property with undisguised disdain. James's cabin, a sturdy hand-built retreat, stood surrounded by towering pines. A weathered wheelbarrow leaned against a stack of firewood, and a scruffy dog napped in the sunlight, oblivious to the intruder. To Margaret, this was chaos, an affront to the pristine order of her Pineview Heights HOA. With a practiced smile that could cut glass, she strode toward the porch, her heels crunching on the gravel like a warning shot. James had spotted her from the porch. Her arrival was no surprise. Whispers in town had warned him of Pineview's iron-fisted HOA president sniffing around his land. Leaning against the railing, arms crossed, he watched her approach, ready for the show. "Ma'am," he greeted, his tone flat, offering no warmth. Margaret's smile widened, though her eyes remained cold. "Mr. Carter, a pleasure to finally meet you," she said, her voice dripping with false charm. "This land was meant to be part of Pineview Heights. A clerical error excluded it, but it falls under our jurisdiction." James didn't flinch. "It's not," he replied, his voice steady. Margaret's composure flickered, a twitch at the corner of her mouth betraying her irritation. She pressed on, her tone patronizing. "Non-HOA properties drag down neighborhood values. We have standards." James let out a dry chuckle. "Good thing I'm not your neighbor." The air crackled with tension. Margaret's smile tightened, her posture stiffening. She wasn't used to defiance, and James's refusal was a spark she couldn't extinguish. With a curt nod, she retreated to her SUV, but as she slammed the door, her clenched jaw through the tinted glass told James this was only the beginning. The campaign began subtly. Polite letters from Pineview Heights arrived, touting the benefits of joining, code for compliance. Then came unannounced visits, Margaret flanked by HOA board members, brochures in hand, preaching community unity. James brushed them off, eventually ignoring their knocks. That's when Margaret dropped the charm. Anonymous complaints flooded the county, zoning violations, unpermitted modifications, safety hazards. Inspectors flagged his legally built cabin, his driveway substandard, his woodpile fire risk, his fence-in obstruction. A typed note appeared in his mailbox: join the HOA or pay the price. James wasn't naive. He knew Margaret was orchestrating it all. But she underestimated him. James had chosen this land to escape petty tyrants like her, and he'd built his home with sweat and resolve. If Margaret wanted war, he'd give her one. The pressure escalated. County letters cited permit irregularities, then a survey error, claiming James's land encroached on Pineview Heights. A cease and desist order followed, boldly stating his cabin stood on HOA property. Refused to join, and they'd sue to evict him. James's blood boiled, but he stayed calm, digging into records. He unearthed his original deed, county zoning maps, and most damningly, emails showing Margaret pressuring officials to alter boundaries. The confrontation came at a Pineview Heights town hall. Margaret sat at the head of the table, her board like loyal courtiers. James stormed in, slamming down the cease and desist and county letters. "This is fraud, and you know it," he growled. Margaret sipped her latte unfazed. "You're taking this personally, James. Your land was always meant for Pineview Heights, an oversight we're correcting." Her casual dismissal was infuriating. "Who found this oversight?" James shot back. "Your legal team," she replied, her smile venomous. She leaned forward. Join us, and these issues vanish. James's fist clenched, but he smirked. Funny, I was about to say the same to you. He walked out, the room buzzing with whispers. Margaret's mask slipped. She hadn't expected resistance this fierce. Days later, the HOA sued, claiming a decades-old clerical error made James's land theirs. Lose, and he'd be homeless. James sat at his kitchen table, the lawsuit papers before him, his resolve hardening. The courtroom was electric, packed with homeowners, officials, and reporters. Margaret sat poised, her high-priced lawyer, Edward Lang, radiating confidence. James, alone at the defense table, clutched a manila folder. Margaret's faint smirk screamed victory, until James stood. Lang argued first, calling it a simple correction. James's refusal, he claimed, violated HOA rights. Then James took the floor, his calm and deliberate. He presented his deed, proving his land's independence, and original zoning maps confirming his boundaries. Margaret's smile wavered. Then came the bombshell, emails between Margaret and county officials, pressuring them to falsify records. He laid out 2 maps, one original, one altered, the shifted lines exposing her fraud. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Margaret froze, her lawyer scrambling. The judge's face darkened as he reviewed the evidence. This is a blatant attempt to steal private property, the judge declared, slamming his gavel. Case dismissed with prejudice. I'm referring this to the district attorney. Margaret's face drained of color, her empire crumbling in real time. James stood still, victory sinking in as whispers erupted around him. The fallout was swift. The county investigated Margaret's history, uncovering years of manipulations and bribes, forged records, and forced buyouts. Stripped of her presidency, she faced legal battles as Pineview Heights bled funds from fines and lawsuits. Inspectors tore through the HOA's shady deals, its dominance unraveling. James's legal fees were covered, his land forever his. Months later, in a grocery store, James spotted Margaret. Once a commanding figure, she looked diminished, clutching a basket, avoiding his gaze. Margaret, he called lightly. She stiffened, turning with a forced mask of indifference. Hope Pineview Heights is treating you well, he said, his tone teasing but pointed. Her jaw tightened, and she fled, shoulders hunched, a shadow of her former self. James smiled, returning to his cart, his freedom intact. What do you think? Was James's grocery store jab a petty jab or a deserved taunt? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and share your take on playful provocation in conflicts like this. Smash that like button, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going.